What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're adding a, I guess not a part two, but a second video to our How to Fly series. And today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most popular aircraft in the game, one of the most in-depth, if not the most in-depth aircraft in the game systems-wise, the Fenix A320. All right, so you guys can go ahead over to Fenix.com. If you just Google the Fenix A320, go to their website, and then I believe you just go to downloads, and you can download this for yourself. It's about 50 pounds, which I think is like around 60 US dollars. So it is a little bit pricey, but man, this thing is worth it. This is one of the most universal aircrafts in the world. So many airlines all across the globe fly this thing. Today we're going to be doing JetBlue Boston, which is one of their biggest hubs, if not their biggest hub, down to JFK, which is another big one. And they do fly this flight in the real world with an A320. We're going to be operating as JetBlue 2417 today. JetBlue 2417 down to JFK. We're not going to go super in depth on this today. We're not going to do like a walk around and talk about like brake pressures and stuff like that and battery voltage required for starting and stuff, because first of all, I don't know all that stuff. I'm not type rated on an A320. I'm still in flight school, so I'm nowhere near flying one of these things. But I'm just kind of going to show you how I get the airplane ready to fly from point A to point B in the sim. It'll work for you, it works for me, and then you guys can take your own twists and turns and put it onto it. So, we're not going to, stay out here and do a walk around or anything like that. It's not really, it's a beautiful external model. I mean, it's really cool to just like look at, but like I said, I don't even really know everything out here that there is to be looking for. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump inside the cockpit and power this bad boy up. So we'll go ahead, and first thing you do want to do is hit your battery buttons. Even though they're not showing, you still click them both. They come on, and then your external power should be available, and the external power is this little cart out here. It's hooked up to the underneath the nose of the aircraft. That is your external power. So we'll go ahead and hit that. You hear a lot of things come to life in the aircraft, just like the A300. We'll go ahead and get our navs left, center, and right. Or I'm sorry, left, right, and center, 1, 2, and 3 into nav mode. Turn on the crew supply oxygen, leave the fuel pumps off. Everything else can stay where it's at. Airbuses are pretty easy. You just flick the strobes to auto, navs to position 1, and then you come down here. You can mess with your lights, emergency exit lights on, no smoking to auto, passenger seatbelt signs are on, and then we'll go. We'll do a little bit of lights today because it's a little cloudy, so we'll have some of the panel lights on today, but nothing too crazy. Like these are always so bright. Automatically, so you can definitely turn those down, and probably these down a little bit here too, and maybe even get a floodlight going just to make it a little cozier in here. Okay, what else should we do? We should check the temperature, because you need the APU to start the APU on to start air conditioning or heat in these planes. So we'll just ignore those faults, and we can click this cond button, which is short for conditioning, air conditioning, whatever. 75 degrees, that is in Fahrenheit. You can see that here. So it's all right for now, especially everybody coming in. It's cold up here right now in Boston, so we'll leave it a little bit heated, so no reason to start the APU just yet. Okay, so in here, in the FMC, McDo, as it's called in the Airbus, you just click this, make sure these are your engine types, your nav database. It's always a little bit out of date, so that just confirm you have that. So that's so then we'll go to the init page. If you have your sim brief all linked up, you can go ahead and just hit request. I believe to do that, data link. Okay, and then you can just go McDo menu. It'll take you back to this main screen. You go to config, you go to data link config, and then you type in your sim brief user ID right there, and then that'll get everything linking for this. So and then you can hit that request button. It brings you your route, Boston to JFK. It doesn't put your flight number in, which is fine. We're just we're JetBlues. We're JBU 2417 today. Cost index of 33. And you know what? Let's bring it up over here so you guys know where I'm getting these numbers from. So you hold down the thumbprint on your iPad to open that up. Pilot brief, I believe, is what we opened for this. Okay, so you have to click down there to get it to import your last flight from SimBrief. JetBlue 2417 Boston to JFK 320, that's us. So this is where I got the cost index from right here. It's basically how much fuel you're going to burn during the flight. So we set the cost index of 33, and then the next thing it's asking for is our cruise altitude. Since it's going to be such a short flight today, we're only going up to 22,000, so we'll put 220, short for flight level 220, right there. And then IRS in it, we'll go ahead and hit align on ref, confirm align. So then that means whenever the IRSs that we put in a nav up here, whenever those are aligned, we can start to see our GPS and everything come up down there. So that'll be that. And then now the flow is basically, so after you do the init page, the flow is like a little hat. That's how it was. That's how I learned it. That's how a lot of people teach it. Is you start off at flight plan, then you go to RadNav. There's really nothing there. And honestly, this is also for descent too. You do them both on takeoff and descent. There's nothing really to do for RadNav, unless, well, we might do a return. So we'll see. We'll show that stuff. So you go to flight plan, and we'll just leave that there for now, and we'll start getting the aircraft loaded by going to the Fenix tab on the iPad. Tap to import from SimBrief. We're going to get that loading up. Boston to JFK. That checks out. And then also something you're probably going to have to do is you have to go to Sim settings. And depending on where you're flying at, you're going to have to change. We're going to want inches. So we're going to want not QNH. We want, well, it's QNH, but we want not hectopascals. We want inches. And pounds instead of kilos. Callouts, I like the 200 callout. I don't really like the 5 callouts. We'll leave that there. Linked, so that just means whenever you standard this, it standards the other side, as you can see over there, the first officer side as well. So that's that as well. So that's that. And then everything else you kind of leave. This is just like some advanced settings that I don't even really mess with that much. So then you save it, and then go back and make sure it's saved because it likes to not do that. So you just hit save default, and then you come back. Now it should, if you gave you any issues, you should have it there. Can check out the altimeter real quick just to get the the METAR to get the altimeter. Broken at 3,700, so pretty low, not super low clouds. 320 at 7, so pretty not super bad winds today, and 3043 on the altimeter, so pretty high altimeter setting today. And you know, just get that, like to get that set up before we really get into it here. So okay, then we'll go to ground services. We have our GPU chocks and cones set, and we can honestly toggle the jetway, get him pulled up. Door opens up automatically, and you can use GSX with this, but I don't know. GSX has been giving me some problems lately, so I'm not going to use GSX. Wow, he just shoved that door through the freaking fuselage. Is it in the cockpit? It is in the cockpit. Look at that. So really, really good stuff here at Boston Logan. No, I'm just kidding, but it is what it is. Anyway, so we have that going for us, and so then we go to the mass and balance page. It has everything. It should have everything loaded up for you like right away. So like 11,400 pounds of fuel is what we have on the flight plan, but 11.3 is in there, so that checks. And then you pretty much just load aircraft. I'm gonna do instantly because again, I don't have the too much time, so we're gonna try to kind of hustle through this, but you know, we want to go instant load. You can do whatever else you want. You also want to do instant load if you're doing GSX too, because I think it messes with it, but we're not doing GSX today. So anyways, instant load, you'll see all your weights change. Boarding complete, your zero fuel weight, your zero fuel weight CG has changed, so a lot of things have just changed right there. So then we will go to this button here. You can either do that, by the way, you can either go home page and go to departure perf, or you can just hover up top and it'll bring down a little menu for you. So the winds was like 320 at 7, but we're not going to take runway 27 or, yeah, we're not going to take runway 33 certainly, so we're going to go with 22 right. I believe that's what they did in the real world whenever I looked at it. It's dry. You can just leave this, so you can hit sync load sheet final, so to bring all your weights over. Flaps optimum. We're not going to do toga today. We're going to do flex takeoffs. We'll show that. No anti-ice unless... Nah, we'll do anti-ice if we get up if we have to. We're going to leave packs on. That's our takeoff weight and our CG. And then the live weather we can go ahead and sync. And then we can go ahead and calculate our all of our stuff here. But I like to just kind of get that set up and then kind of come back in here because we have to do some stuff with these numbers right here, the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel weight CG. So... we also have to finish inputting our route too, but we can do that here in a moment. That's something that you can normally do, like whenever you do instant loading, it kind of messes up the flow because you can kind of do your route while you're loading and then come back and do all these numbers. So, you know, it's kind of 50-50, like whatever, however you want to do it. So I like to kind of just get it all done at once. So you come back in here. So you go to, what I did there was I went back to the init page. So you hit init, and then you see these little arrows. It means you can switch a page. So you hit this button, go to the init B page. This is called init B page. It's asking for your zero fuel weight and your CG. So we got 134.3 and 29.5. So 134.3 and 29.5. So we're going to go ahead and set that there. That is, why is that not, what happened there? 134.3, 29.5. Oh. Did I do that last time too? That's embarrassing. 29.5. Okay, there we go. So that's good. And then the fuel, it's asking for your block fuels. That's how much fuel you're taking on the flight. 11.3. We'll even round up and give it a nice 11 point. Well, now we'll just keep it. We'll keep it 11.3 there, and set that in there. And we have our takeoff weight, which is 145.2. Our route. Let's take a look at our reserve fuels. So we're going to go back into the little hat icon here, and we're going to take a look at. So it's asking for our reserve fuel. So alternate 3.8 and the FinRes is 1.9. So we're going to do 3.8 in the alternate and 1.9 as the final, bringing us to 5.7, and that checks out right there. 5.7 on the fuel, and then that gives us 3 minutes of extra fuel. Well, or half hour. I don't know exactly. Again, I'm not an Airbus guy. If anybody knows which one you're really looking at, let me know in the comments. But it's either this, you either have 3 minutes or 25 minutes of final fuel. So, anyways, with that being done, we come back down here to the flight plan page. Like I said, we're taking 22 right for departure today, which might mess up our SID actually, because it wanted us. So, like our flight plan says, it wants us to go off 27 on the SOC 7, so we'll see if that's an option still for us. Yeah, we can still take the SOC 7. Perfect. So SOC 7, and then supposed to be the SOX transition, but it doesn't look like that's an option for us, or is it just kind of like automatically an option for us? All right, it's in there, so that's good. So and then we go to, so that's our departure. Then we'll go to JFK and start to set up for our arrival, which we're going to do the Parch 3 into 3-1 right. So we're going to go ahead and pick a runway first. So we're just going to do the ILS 3-1 right, keep it nice and easy today on the Parch 3 departure. We're not going to do a VIA just yet. We'll do that once we get up in the air, and we're going to do via the SAY transition. That's a VOR. I'm not sure which VOR that is. We could take a look at it. We probably will in the air, but anyways, we're going to go ahead and step through our route. So we'll go plan view and turn constraints on so we can see what our altitude restrictions are going to be. And we'll go over here and take a look at the Navigraph charts as well. So we'll go ahead and pin we can import from SimBrief. Go to Boston, ground charts. So we're looking for the 10-9 airport info chart. That's the taxi chart. So that'll show us where we're at on the gate. We're going to 22 right, which is right up there. So yeah, that'll be that. And then we'll go back to Boston again and get a departure chart. We're on the SOC 7, so we're going to go ahead and star that and pull that up so that we can take a look at it. Short briefing here. Transition altitude 18,000, SOC 7 off of 22 right, so we can take it from there. Off 22 right, we're going to climb a heading of 215, then do all that. Top altitude's 5,000. That's what ATC would give us, right? They'd say climb maintain 5,000 feet right off the rip there, and it was a heading of, what was it, 215? 215 on the heading, so we'll go ahead and set that as well. That was too much. So 215 on the heading. And then we're going to step through it. So we have, we'll go back to the flight plan page, and we'll bump it in a little bit. So 210 knots, and then vectors to TJ, Bro, to Buck, Jester, Sox, and then inbound to Say, and then that begins our arrival into JFK, Robber, whatever. and then vectored onto the approach. We'll take some altitudes and stuff like that. So that route all looks good. That's how you kind of generally want to step through your route there. And then with all that being said and done, let's go back to the departure perf and take a look at our speeds. So we got V1 134, so that we're going to go to the perf page for. So we'll do 134, and then V2 and VR are the same, 140, 140. Transition altitude 18,000, that checks. Flap 1 for departure, down 0.1 on the trim, so we do 1, then down 0.1 on the trim, and a flex takeoff temperature of 58 degrees. That is not 85, there we go, 58 degrees. So that all sets, and that is all set and checked there. Flight controls, you can go ahead and see your trim here. I don't think we can actually do it until we start the APU. So we are going to start the APU. Now over here you can do some things. You can go in here and like kind of do like a, I don't know, they call it the AOC, like ACARS menu, whatever. And you can try to get weather and stuff, but it just doesn't really work all that well. You can receive messages, your load sheet will come in, you can accept it, but I don't really think that it does a whole lot from what I understand, but it's nice to be able to look at it. So like personally, you know, requesting weather into JFK. So like let's do weather request. We'll do JFK. Well, we want the METAR. Sure, we'll get both the METAR and the TAF. Send that request, and then we'll wait and see if we get a message back from them. Weather data. Let's see, and then it like does nothing. So I don't know. Let me know if I'm doing something wrong in the comments below. But I don't know. That's stupid. So anyways, we're pretty much ready for APU start. Let's go ahead outside and just take a look and make sure everybody's pretty much ready for that as well. Looks like they are. So we'll go up overhead, turn on our fuel pumps. Oop, missed one. Master switch, and then like a second or two later, start switch, and then you can come down here and monitor on the APU page. You'll start to see the EGT rising, just like an engine start, right? You're going to see EGT rising one of these days here. You can go outside and listen to it too. That's always fun. There it is. You hear it starting up a little bit now. So then coming back in here, like I said, flap open, EGT's coming up, N1's coming up, right? Because it's a jet engine back here, essentially, is what it is. So that's that. Another thing you can do too to kind of increase some realism is you can do a fire test. You're supposed to do it before you start, and I didn't, but just make sure that goes off and everything, and there's not already like a fire in your APU, or if you get a fire, that you know, you're kind of ready to rock and roll, and you know that you're going to be notified of a fire if one starts. So that's what you should do before you start it. But like I said, it's a sim, so unless you're trying to train for a type rating or whatever. Anyways, N1's coming up, so the APU is now available. The generator's online. So we'll go overhead and we can turn on the APU bleed, and you'll hear the air conditioning kind of start up. We can go ahead and probably turn it down just a little bit for all of our lovely people in the back. Disconnect from the external power. You can also see the avail light up here. That means you can use the APU and start and stop using the GPU. So we'll come back over here. We'll go to this page, and we'll make sure we're ready for departure by getting our GPU out of the way and our chocks and cones out of the way. Make sure our parking brake is set so we don't start rolling away. And then with that being said, and all that being done, that is going to conclude the pre-flight to APU start section of this video. Next section is going to be the pushback, engine start, taxi out, and takeoff. So if you want to see how to do that, stick around and we will show you that then. So thank you guys for watching this one, and we'll see you in the next one.